Good morning, friends. I am Dr. Nandita Francis from St. Xavier's College, and with me Dr. Ravindra from Gujarat University School of Sciences. Today we are going to discuss about some techniques of classification using ANOVA, analysis of variance, one-way and two-way classifications. So first of all, let us understand what is analysis of variance. The analysis of variance is a powerful statistical tool of test of significance. The test of significance based on t-distribution is an adequate procedure for testing the significance of two sample means. In a situation when we have three or more samples to be considered at a time, an alternative procedure is required for testing the hypothesis that all the samples are drawn from the same population, that is, they have the same mean. Thus, the basic purpose of ANOVA is to test the homogeneity of several means. The term ANOVA was first introduced by Professor R. A. Fisher in 1920. This technique is used to test the consistent difference between two or more means. ANOVA is a technique whereby the total variation present in a data set is partitioned or segregated into several components. To test the significance of difference between the sample, we need to use F-ratio test. This F-ratio test is used when the following assumptions are true. Number 1, the observations are independent. Number 2, parent population from which the samples are taken considered as normally distributed. Now let us consider one-way classification. Consider a set of n values of variate x arranged into k classes, where the size of each class is n1, n2, nk respectively. Let xij represent the value of the member belonging to ith row and jth columns. It is exhibited in the following table. You can see on the screen. This is a one-way classification layout. In this layout, in this about table, the total variation in the observations xij can be split into the following two components: the variation between the classes or variation due to different bases of classification, which is commonly known as treatments, and number 2, the variation within the classes, that is the inherent variation of the random variation within the observations of a class. The first type of variation is due to assignable causes, which can be controlled by human attempt, while the second kind of variation is due to chance causes, which are beyond the control of human hand. The main objective of ANOVA is to break up the total variation into components due to each of the factors and then compare them by F-test. This is a mathematical model that we use for one-way classified data. Suppose the mathematical model, linear mathematical model is xij equals to mu I plus eij, where mu I is further divided into two parts, that is mu plus mu I minus mu, which ultimately gives us xij equals to mu plus alpha I plus eij, where alpha I is nothing but mu I minus mu. Xij in the model, it denotes the yield from jth subject receiving the ith treatment. Mu is nothing but general mean effect. Alpha I is effect due to ith treatment, and eij is the error effect due to chance. These are the assumptions that we make for one-way classified data. Number 1, all the observations are independent. Number 2, different effects are additive in nature. And number 3, Eij, that is error component, it follows normal distribution with mean 0 and variance sigma square E. Now the hypothesis that is to be tested. Suppose we want to test the hypothesis that the equality of the population means, that is the homogeneity of several means. Hence, the null hypothesis is given by H naught, mu 1 equals to mu 2 and so on, mu k equals to mu, or equivalently it can be written as alpha 1 equals to alpha 2 and so on, alpha k equals to 0. This is because mu is equal to mu I minus mu, which is equal to alpha, and hence we get alpha 1 equals to alpha 2 equals to alpha k equals to 0. Now let us consider the statistical model of the one-way classification. The model that we have used in one-way classification, that is Xij equals to mu plus alpha I plus Eij, where I takes values from 1 to k and j takes values from 1 to ni. Ni represents the size of each class. There are k classes. The variate Xij is divided into k classes, and the size of each class is n1, n2, nk respectively. Now in this, mu is the general mean, which is given by summation ni mu I ranging from 1 to k divided by capital N. This is mu. Alpha I is equal to, alpha I is equal to mu I minus mu. Now ni alpha I over I can be written as ni I ranging from 1 to k into mu I minus mu, which is equal to summation ni mu I minus summation ni mu. Since this is free from the summation sign, that is n mu. This is equal to, from this, n into mu minus n into mu, which is ultimately 0. So thus we have got a summation ni alpha I over I equals to 0. It means that alpha I is fixed effect. Hence the model in which the effects are fixed, it is called fixed effect model. So here ni alpha I over I is 0. Hence alpha I, which is the effect due to IA treatment, is fixed. Now let us obtain the estimates of the parameters involved in the model. This is the mathematical model for one-way classification, in which mu alpha I are the parameters of the model. Now in order to estimate these parameters of the model, we use the least square method, that is the principle of least squares. With the help of principle of least squares, we can obtain the estimates of the parameters. Now as we all know the basic principle of least square, according to it we minimize the error sum of squares, which is given by double summation Eij square. Eij is the error component, and we try to minimize this using the principle of minima, and this is nothing but Xij minus mu minus alpha I whole square. The normal equations for estimating the parameters are partial derivative of E with respect to mu equals to 0 and partial derivative of E with respect to alpha I equals to 0. These are the two normal equations that we have to estimate by using the principle of least squares. Now let us solve the first equation. From this equation, this implies differentiating this with respect to mu, that means using a rule of derivative, it is xij minus mu minus alpha I equals to 0. The derivative of minus mu is minus 1, so it is taken outside. So this implies summation, applying summation on each term, we get double summation xij minus, since mu is free from both I and j, we can write this as n mu minus, this term is free from j but not from I, so we can write this as summation over I, and since j ranging from 1 to ni, this is ni alpha I. Now as we have proved that summation ni alpha I is 0, we can reduce this term or we can cancel this term, and hence we get mu cap as 1 upon n double summation xij, and we give this mean a special notation, that is x bar double dot. X bar double dot, it stands for an overall mean. X bar double dot stands for an overall mean. So this is the estimate of the parameter mu. Similarly, we can obtain the estimate of alpha I using the same procedure. So now let us find the solution of the second equation, that is del E by del alpha I equals to 0. Now when we take differentiation with respect to I will remain constant in the E, that is double summation Eij square, and hence we get the coefficient of alpha I is minus 1, so we will take minus 2 outside. Summation will be taken over j only, since the differentiation is with respect to I, minus alpha I equals to 0, which gives us summation over j ranging from 1 to ni, xij minus, mu is free from j, so we can write this as ni mu minus, this term is also free from j, we can write ni alpha I equals to 0. So this implies alpha I cap, if we divide all the three terms by ni, we get 1 upon ni summation over j xij minus mu cap. This summation xij over j divided by ni has been given a notation, that is xi dot bar. This xi dot bar is nothing but it is the mean of ith treatment. Xi dot bar is nothing but mean of ith treatment, and mu cap as we have already obtained as x bar double dot, so thus we get the estimate of alpha I cap as xi dot bar minus x bar double dot. So this is the estimate of the other parameter alpha I cap as xi dot bar minus x bar dot dot. Now let us divide the total variation into different components. So let us see how we can divide the total variation present in the data into various components. Let us write double summation xij minus x bar double dot whole square equals to double summation xij minus xi dot bar plus xi dot bar minus x bar double dot square. Adding and subtracting xi dot bar to it, it remains the same. Now when we expand this, we get double summation xij minus xi dot bar square plus the second term, that is this, which is free from j, so we can write I ranging from 1 to k ni times xi dot bar minus x bar double dot square plus the product term, that is 2 times double summation xij minus xi dot bar into xi dot bar minus x bar double dot. Now as we have seen that this xij, when it is taken over j, it is nothing but xi dot bar, or in other words, it is nothing but the deviation of the observation from its mean. And as we all know that the deviation of the observation from its mean is always 0, hence the product term will vanish, and ultimately we get the remaining two terms, that is xij minus xi dot bar whole square plus summation over I ni xi dot bar minus x bar double dot whole square. The term which is written on the left hand side, it is nothing but total sum of squares. In 1-way classification, this term has been given a special name, that is total sum of square. In short we will write it as total SS. The term which is written on right hand side, the first term, this is nothing but sum of squares due to error, so we write it in short as SSE. And the second term, it is nothing but sum of squares due to treatments. So thus total sum of squares is divided into two parts, that is sum of squares due to error and sum of squares due to treatment. So thus total variation is divided into two components, sum of squares due to error and sum of squares due to treatments. Now we want to compare these variations. This sum of squares due to treatments is the variation due to assignable causes, while this sum of squares due to error, it is due to chance causes. So this is within sum of squares or the within variation, and this is variation between classes. This is variation within classes. So in order to compare this, we use F ratio test. Okay. Now we have got all the three sum of squares, so we can obtain the corresponding mean sum of squares. Before I explain you how to find the mean sum of squares, let us understand what do we mean by degrees of freedom. The total SS that we have derived as double summation xij minus x bar double dot square. We have derived sum of squares due to treatment as summation over I ni into xi dot bar minus x bar double dot square, and sum of squares due to error is defined as double summation xij minus xi dot bar whole square. Now this term, that is total SS, the first,